There is a specific chilling phrase that economists fear more than recession, more than depression, and even more than hyperinflation. It is a phrase that signals the end of the free market mechanism and the beginning of the command economy. It is the death knell of abundance and the birth cry of systemic scarcity. That phrase is price stabilization. It sounds harmless. It sounds helpful. It sounds like the government is finally stepping in to protect you from the predatory cost of living. But in reality, it is the linguistic camouflage for the most destructive economic policy known to man. Yesterday, amidst the chaos of the escalating war in Latin America and the spiraling cost of living that is crushing the American middle class, the White House leaked a draft of an unprecedented executive order. They aren't calling it socialism. They aren't calling it rationing. They are rebranding it for the modern era. They are calling it the Consumer Protection and Price Stabilization Act of 2026. The narrative being spun by the mainstream media and the political class is seductive, almost irresistible to a population that is hurting. They are telling you that the skyrocketing prices of eggs, milk, gasoline, and lumber are not the fault of the $38 trillion national debt we discussed in our last video. They are not the fault of the Federal Reserve printing money to fund the deficit. No, they are telling you it is the fault of corporate greed. They are blaming price gouging, and their solution, the heroic intervention they are promising, is to make it illegal for companies to raise prices above a certain fair level. They are promising you $2 gasoline by decree. They are promising you affordable steak by law. They are promising that the government can simply legislate prosperity and banish inflation with a pen stroke. But Warren Buffett, the man who has seen every economic cycle since the Great Depression, knows the terrifying truth that lies behind this promise. He knows that price controls do not lower prices, they eliminate products. He understands the iron law of economics that no politician can repeal. When the government sets a price below the cost of production, the producer does not sell at a loss out of patriotism. The producer stops producing. The truck driver stops driving. The farmer stops planting. The refinery stops refining. The result is not affordable goods. The result is empty shelves. The result is a world where you have money in your pocket, but there is nothing to buy. Buffett isn't waiting for the law to be signed. He isn't waiting for the press conference. He is voting with his feet and his billions right now. Look at his recent moves. He has completely exited the retail sector. He has sold the supermarkets. He has sold the consumer packaged goods companies that will be the primary target of these price caps. Instead, he is hoarding physical assets at the source of production, energy and rail, and holding a massive cash pile to survive the liquidity freeze that happens when the supply chain breaks. He is positioning himself upstream of the disaster. Buffett's silent warning is screaming at us. The US is about to repeat the catastrophic mistakes of the 1970s, of Venezuela in the 2010s, and of the Roman Empire in 301 AD. We are entering an era of shortage economics. In 2026, the problem won't be that you can't afford bread. The problem will be that there is no bread to buy at any price in the legal market. Today, we are going to deconstruct the hidden mechanism of how price controls destroy supply chains from the inside out. We will walk through the history of 1971 to show you exactly what happens next. We will look at the ancient warning of Diocletian to see how this destroys empires. We will run a harrowing simulation of your life in a rationed economy. And most importantly, we will give you the 5 rules of scarcity survival that Buffett is using to protect his empire, so you can feed your family when the stores go dark. To understand why this executive order is a suicide note for the economy, we have to strip away the political rhetoric and look at the cold, hard mechanics of the supply chain. We need to understand the concept of the margin squeeze. In a free market, price is a signal. It is information. If the price of eggs goes up, it signals 2 things. Consumers should use fewer eggs, conservation, and farmers should produce more eggs, incentive. High prices cure high prices by creating more supply. It is a self-correcting mechanism. But what happens when the government steps in and says, the price of a dozen eggs cannot exceed $3, even though it costs the farmer $4.00 to feed the chickens because of the inflation in grain and diesel? This is called a price ceiling. Does the farmer sell the eggs for $3 and lose $1 on every carton? No. He is a business, not a charity. He cannot operate at a loss. The bank will foreclose on him. If he loses money on every sale, he has two choices. Kill the chickens. He culls the flock to stop the bleeding. He sells the birds for meat, flooding the market temporarily, and shuts down the egg operation. Supply vanishes instantly. The black market. He sells the eggs out the back door to restaurants or wealthy neighbors who are willing to pay $6 in cash, off the books. The official market gets nothing. To the average consumer walking into Walmart or Kroger, the shelf is simply empty. The price tag says $3, but there is nothing to buy. The official price is a lie. The real price is infinity, because you cannot get the product. This creates what economists call deadweight loss. It is the wealth that is destroyed because transactions that should happen don't happen. But the mechanism gets worse in a complex, interconnected supply chain. Let's look at the trucking industry. Trucking operates on razor-thin margins, often 2% or 3%. If the government caps the price of shipping, freight rates, to fight inflation, but the price of diesel fuel continues to rise, because it is a global commodity that the US government cannot control, the truckers go underwater. They park the trucks. They refuse to haul the load. So the food is sitting on the farm, rotting. The store is empty. The consumer is hungry. But the government says, "We lowered prices." The Price Stabilization Act destroys the incentive to bring goods to market. It breaks the delicate web of logistics that keeps 330 million Americans fed. It turns a complex, efficient system into a chaotic, broken mess of shortages and hoarding. Buffett understands the thin margins of retail better than anyone. He knows that Kroger and Walmart cannot survive if their input costs, labor, energy, goods, rise, and their output prices are fixed by a bureaucrat in Washington. That is why he is selling the middlemen, retailers, and buying the source, energy. He knows the oil driller has leverage. The cashier does not. We must validate this thesis with history, because the politicians will tell you, this time is different. They will say, we have AI now. We have better algorithms to manage prices. They are lying. The laws of economics are as immutable as the laws of physics. Gravity applies in 2026, just as it did in 301 AD. Let's look at the edict on maximum prices issued by the Roman Emperor Diocletian in 301 AD. Rome was suffering from inflation because they had debased the currency, mixing copper into the silver coins. To stop the rising prices, the emperor issued a decree fixing the price of everything from grain to lion feed. The penalty for violating it was death. Did it work? No. Merchants hid their goods. Farmers stopped bringing food to the cities. The economy collapsed. Riots ensued. The law was eventually repealed because it was starving the population. Now let's travel forward to August 15, 1971. President Richard Nixon enacted the new economic policy. It imposed a 90-day freeze on all wages and prices in the United States to combat 4% inflation. The public cheered. Finally, the government is doing something against the greedy corporations. The stock market rallied the next day. It felt good. It felt like action. But then, the 90 days turned into years of various phases of control, and the shortages began. The beef famine. The government capped the price of beef, but the cost of feed grain went up globally. Ranchers realized they would lose money sending cattle to the slaughterhouse, so they held the cattle back on the ranch to fatten them up, waiting for the controls to end. Supermarkets had no meat. Shelves were empty. Americans drove across the border to Canada just to buy hamburger meat. The drowning of chicks. In 1973, poultry farmers were losing money on every chicken because feed prices soared while chicken prices were frozen. To stop the losses, farmers famously drowned millions of baby chicks on live television. They destroyed the future food supply because the government made it illegal to profit from it. It was a visceral demonstration of the deadweight loss. The toilet paper panic. Rumors of shortages caused hoarding. Because prices couldn't rise to dampen demand, people bought everything they could carry. Shelves were bare for months. It wasn't just food. It was heating oil. It was gasoline. The gas lines of the 1970s were caused by price controls, not just the embargo. By 1974, the controls collapsed under their own weight. Inflation didn't go down. It exploded to 12% as soon as the controls were lifted. The economy entered a deep recession. The policy was a catastrophic failure that hurt the very people it was designed to protect. We also have the modern example of Venezuela. In 2011, Hugo Chavez enacted the Law on Fair Costs and Prices. He capped the price of everything from rice to toilet paper to fight greedy capitalists. The result? Within 2 years, Venezuela, the richest country in South America with the most oil, had people starving in the streets. Supermarkets were empty concrete bunkers. A black market emerged where a roll of toilet paper cost a day's wages. The currency became worthless. Buffett lived through the 1970s. He saw the empty shelves. He saw the gas lines. He knows that price controls are the desperate act of a dying currency. When a government tries to ban inflation, they only succeed in banning merchandise. He knows that 2026 will rhyme with 1973, but with the speed of the internet accelerating the panic. The record sales of 2025 were the last hurrah. The empty shelves of 2026 are the inevitable hangover. We need to move this from history books to your Tuesday afternoon in mid-2026. I want you to run an immersive simulation of your life under the Price Stabilization Act. I want you to feel the frustration and the fear. It is a Tuesday after work. You have heard rumors on social media, whispers in neighborhood groups, that the local grocery store is getting a shipment of meat today. You leave work early. You drive to the store. The parking lot is full. People are waiting outside. The atmosphere is tense. You walk in. The first thing you notice is not the products, but the limit signs. Limit 2 gallons of milk per customer. Limit 1 carton of eggs. Limit 2 loaves of bread. Government mandate enforced. You walk to the meat aisle. The price tag on the ground beef says $3.99 lb, the government mandated fair price. It looks cheap. It looks like a bargain. But the fridge is empty. There is nothing there. Just a few packages of unwanted organ meat or plant-based substitutes that nobody buys. You ask the stock boy, "When is the beef coming? I heard there was a truck." He looks tired. He avoids eye contact. "The truck didn't come today. The distribution center says there's a shortage of drivers. Drivers quit because their wages are frozen, but their cost of living is up. Maybe Thursday." You go to the produce section. The vegetables look old, wilted. The variety is gone. No avocados from Mexico, due to the war. No berries from Chile. Just potatoes, onions, and maybe some apples. The global supply chain is shattered. You grab what you can. You feel a primal anxiety rising in your chest. This isn't shopping. This is foraging. This is hunter-gatherer behavior in a fluorescent-lit box. You go to the checkout. The line is an hour long. People are arguing. Someone has 3 cartons of eggs in their cart and the cashier is taking one away. "It's the law," she says. "I can lose my job if I sell you this." The customer shouts, "My kids need to eat." You pay with your digital dollar app because cash is being phased out to prevent black markets. The app tracks your purchase. It logs that you bought your weekly ration of dairy. It connects to your digital ID. You drive home. You pass a gas station. The sign says $2.50 gallon, government price. But there are plastic bags over the nozzles. No fuel. Across the street, in a dark lot, there is a guy with a pickup truck selling gas from jerry cans. He is charging 10 gallon. That is the real price. That is the black market. That is the free market asserting itself. You realize you have to pay the real price if you want to get to work tomorrow. You pay the $10. You are breaking the law to survive. This is the reality of shortage economics. Your money has value on paper, but zero value in the store. You are rich in dollars, but poor in calories. The social contract has broken. This simulation is the nightmare scenario that Warren Buffett is avoiding. He is buying the companies that own the jerry can. He is buying the companies that own the rail cars filled with grain. He knows that in a shortage, the person with the physical goods is the king, and the person with the paper money is the beggar. If you are already seeing limit signs or empty spots in your local store, comment below. Tell us where you are. We need to map the spread of the shortages before the news reports it. But there is a plot twist to this crisis, a hidden mechanism that makes 2026 different from the 1970s. It is technology. In the 1970s, rationing was done with paper coupons and license plates. It was clumsy. It was easy to cheat. You could trade coupons with your neighbor. In 2026, the rationing will be digital and algorithmic. The hidden crisis is the integration of price controls with the digital ID and CBDC, central bank digital currency infrastructure we discussed in the previous video. The government knows that price controls create hoarding. They know that if prices are artificially low, people will buy everything. So to prevent hoarding, they will implement smart rationing. Your bank account or digital wallet will be programmed with purchase limits. If you try to buy a third gallon of milk, the transaction will simply decline at the point of sale. Error: weekly dairy quota exceeded. Error: carbon allowance limit reached. The Price Stabilization Act will likely include a clause for equitable distribution. This means your ability to buy goods will be tied to your digital identity. This solves the empty shelf problem for the government by ensuring no one can buy enough to empty it. It creates the illusion of stability by enforcing artificial poverty. It manages the decline. Furthermore, this system allows for variable pricing based on your social score or income. The digital price tag on the shelf, electronic shelf labels, which are already in stores, might change depending on who is looking at it. If you are high income, you pay more to subsidize the low-income shopper. This is the ultimate control grid. It turns the entire economy into a company town where the company store tells you what you are allowed to eat and at what price. Buffett sees this technological trap. That is why he prefers assets that operate in the wholesale market, selling oil to refineries, selling transport to industrial giants, rather than assets that sell to the tracked and rationed consumer. He wants to be upstream of the digital ration card. He wants to own the raw materials that the system cannot exist without. This leads us to the masterclass sector analysis. How is Warren Buffett positioning for the age of empty shelves? He is not just sitting in cash. He is building a scarcity portfolio. Exit retail. Buffett has sold his stakes in supermarkets and big box retailers. He sold Kroger. He sold Walmart. He knows these businesses have huge fixed costs: rent, electricity, labor, and incredibly thin margins, 1 to 2%. If the government caps their prices, they turn into money-losing zombies instantly. They are the first victims of the Price Control Act. They are the public face of inflation, so they get the blame. Long energy, the uncappable asset. Oil is a global commodity. If the US government caps the price of oil at 60 barrel, Occidental Petroleum will simply sell its oil to China or Europe for $100. You cannot trap a global commodity with a local law. The US will experience a shortage, but OXY will still make money abroad. Energy is the ultimate hedge against domestic stupidity. It flows to the highest bidder. The Japanese trading houses. Buffett owns 9% of the 5 biggest trading houses in Japan: Mitsubishi, Itochu, Mitsui, etc. These companies deal in physical stuff: grain, metals, textiles, machinery, LNG. They move real goods around the world. In a world of shortages, the trader who controls the physical flow captures the profit. He is betting on the middlemen of the physical world, not the digital one. Agricultural land, indirectly. While Buffett doesn't buy farms directly, his ecosystem supports the movement of food, BNSF Railroad. In a shortage, food is the most valuable asset. The price of farmland will skyrocket as the value of the dollar collapses against the value of a bushel of wheat. The blast zone for 2026 is the consumer staples sector, ironically. Companies like Kraft Heinz or Coca-Cola, usually considered safe defensive stocks, become risky if they are forbidden from raising prices. They will face margin compression and shrinking volumes. The other blast zone is utilities. If the government caps electricity rates to help the poor, while natural gas prices soar, utilities go bankrupt, just like PG&E in California. Stay away from regulated utilities in blue states. Now, we must pivot to the concrete actions you need to take. The warning is useless without a survival guide. The title says, empty shelves. So how do you keep your pantry full? How do you insulate your family? Action. 1. The deep pantry strategy, your personal hedge. This is the most immediate and effective investment you can make. It has a better ROI than the S&P 500. Build a supply of 3 to 6 months of shelf-stable food now, while you can still buy it in unlimited quantities. Rice, beans, canned meats, pasta, freeze-dried goods, honey, salt. This is not prepping for the zombie apocalypse. It is financial hedging. You are buying calories at today's price to consume them at tomorrow's inflated or unavailable price. You are locking in your cost of living. It is a guaranteed tax-free return. If food inflation is 20%, your pantry just made 20%. Action 2. Secure the black market currencies. In a rationed economy, you cannot buy extra food with a credit card. It's tracked, blocked. You need untraceable mediums of exchange to operate in the gray market. Physical cash. Small bills. 5s, 10s, 20s. Essential for local trade. Silver eagles, dash rounds. Historically, silver coins are the currency of the street during hyperinflation. A silver coin can buy a tank of gas or a week of groceries when paper money is rejected or worthless. Barter items. Alcohol, coffee, medical supplies, batteries. Items that hold value and are always in demand. Action 3. Get off the just-in-time grid. If you rely on a specific medication, try to get a 90-day or 6-month supply. If you have a baby, stock up on formula and diapers now. The supply chains will break. The just-in-time delivery system requires stable prices and predictable logistics to work. In price controls, it fails. Do not rely on Amazon Prime to save you in 2026. Assume that if you don't have it, you can't get it. Action 4. Invest in upstream commodities. In your brokerage account, rotate out of retailers, Target, Walmart, and into commodity producers. Buy energy ETFs, XLE, agriculture ETFs, DBA, or mining ETFs, XME. Own the companies that pull the scarcity out of the ground. When the shelf is empty, the mine is a gold mine. These stocks protect your purchasing power. Action 5. Geographic arbitrage, if possible. If you live in a food desert city, a dense urban area that imports 100% of its food, consider the logistical vulnerability of your location. Rural areas close to food production suffer less from shortages than dense urban centers that rely on trucks arriving every 4 hours. Being closer to the source is a form of wealth. Establish relationships with local farmers now. The final verdict on the price control order of 2026 is a tragic one. The government, in a desperate attempt to hide the inflation they created with debt, is about to break the machinery of the American economy. They are choosing shortages over high prices. They are choosing lines over markets. They are choosing control over freedom. Warren Buffett has seen this movie before. He knows the ending. The ending is a collapse of the currency and a reset of the system. He has moved his chips to the physical world, energy, rail, and raw materials. You must do the same. Do not wait for the shelves to go bare. Do not wait for the Limit 1 sign to appear on the milk fridge. You need to position yourself now. Fill your pantry. Secure your physical wealth. Invest in the source. Be like Buffett. Ignore the political promises of cheap prices. Look at the reality of supply chains and ensure that when the lights go out in the supermarket, your family is already fed. The order has been drafted. The shortages are mathematically guaranteed. Your survival is up to you. I am immensely grateful to you for staying until the end of this critical warning. This information is scary, but ignorance is fatal. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you the truth about the financial system that the brochures leave out. Stay vigilant, stay prepared, and we will see you in the next video.